I believe so.
I'm not seeing you. Well, hopefully we're live.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't see it on mine.
We're just going to give it a minute, people, just in case you're wondering. Oh, there you go. We're live. There we
Yeah,
go. Great.
here we are.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your page, Patrick.
Yes. Welcome, James.
Patrick and I were just chatting away on a coffee shop and had a great conversation and decided to jump on. And Patrick was kind enough to invite me to his page. So I guess we start off with introductions, especially me, because I'm sure a lot of people following you know who you are on your page, but they don't know who I am. Patrick and I met locally here in Dublin, Columbus, Ohio, and I'm a certified high performance coach, and so we've got a lot in common in terms of what we do for a living and who we serve. And we had a great conversation about chapter twos, people that are kind of ready for the next chapter in their life. Maybe they've got over some of the challenges and the traumas of transition, and now they're ready to build themselves up and tackle that chapter two. And what does it mean to be ready for that? And that really resonated with you, didn't it, Patrick? Especially with the people that you support.
Yeah, absolutely. Like again, James mentioned, we're both coaches. I'm a health coach. I've done personal training since 2012. So I work with guys transitioning out of divorce. And we wanted to focus on how the similarities of how James coaches with his clients and my clients, how there's the concept of your chapter two has a lot of parallels in both of what we do. So we wanted to talk about that today and hopefully shed some light on anybody out there looking to possibly get coaching or move into that chapter two of their journey and take their life to the next level.
I think it's really important to remember that coaches aren't therapists, right? And that's a reminder for coaches as well. And that really, our role, a bit like, someone who, because you've been a trainer, Patrick, haven't you? So it's a bit like training someone in the gym, right? You've got to get over some injuries before you're ready to really start training hard. And, that's where a coach steps in when it comes to development of the human, whether it's physiologically or emotionally or psychologically. There's a difference between I need to be ready to start training and I'm ready to go all in. And where you and I both come in, me more from a psychological and personal development perspective, and you really from a physiological health and nutrition perspective. Where we come in is, we're working with people who are ready to go, right? They're ready to say, okay, there's another chapter I'm ready for. I'm just not quite sure how to get there. Physically, I'm not quite sure how to get there. Mentally, I'm not sure how to get there. And we thought we'd chat today about how do you know when you're ready for that? I don't know if the lower third, we've been trying to figure out this software, we'll be honest.
All full transparency. This is our first live stream together. So, we're just going to be working out the bugs as we go, but we hope to bring value regardless. So
that's right. We were going to have a little strap that said, am I ready for chapter two? And that's what this discussion is. How do you know you're ready? So, I guess I'd ask you, Patrick, you've been in groups and been around people that have, been in various stages of their life. How do you think someone knows that they're ready to work with you?
Yeah, well, you had a really good analogy earlier when you just first started talking. I just want to speak to that for a second. You said, like getting in the gym, right? Like if you're injured first, right? Like you need to go see an orthopedic doctor or a physical therapist, right? Before you go see a personal trainer, right? So it's knowing where you're at. And that could be a physical injury, or also, like you said, it could be a psychological trauma, right? So perhaps, when I'm trying to focus on guys who are going or have gone through a divorce and they're ready to get back on their feet, the ideal client for me might not be the person who's like literally a month out of divorce, because they might be dealing with, not might be, but they're most likely dealing with emotional traumas, drama going on between their ex. A lot of guys have children, right? And they're dealing with custody issues and battles and legal stuff. So, it's really important to really focus on those acute issues first, and get to the point where, okay, they're stable, right? They've gone through the thick of that. And now they're just like kind of left with the debris of going, okay, now I need to pick myself up, dust myself off, and move forward. How do I do that? Am I
Mm.
ready for that? So
Yeah.
that's sort of where I come in as a coach. Okay, you're ready. You need to change something in your life. You're not feeling your best, um, and you want to get guidance. That's where I come in, and I think that's the point where guys need to you know be and think about. But I highly recommend, if they're really really emotionally struggling, is working with a therapist, working with a professional counselor like that, and then getting the help they need, getting through their legal stuff, and then start to think about that. I mean, there's things you can do to hopefully keep yourself healthy during that process. I mean, that's important too. I'm not saying neglect your health during that process, but that's more where I come in and where
Yeah.
my expertise lies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then after that stage, that the drive then to not just get to a stable point, but to really excel. The drive is greater, right? And it's the same with what I do, Patrick. I mean, I tend to work with business owners and leaders who've got to a point where they're pushing so hard they can't get any further, and they need clarity, and they need leadership skills, and they need to know how to be a better version of who they are, which a lot of that is unlearning. But we're in a world right now where personal development and coaching it's not a strange thing anymore, right? But I think there's still a stigma attached. There's a lot of people posting about quick wins and overnight successes, and it can be quite damaging to the industry, both in physical health and mental health, right? That
Exactly.
there's no shortcut to the life that you want.
No, and if anybody's trying, I just want to speak to that. If anybody's trying to sell you a shortcut to that life, just run the other way,
Hmm.
because it's never a simple quick fix, little pill to swallow, and you're good. And that's a good point, because that's something, like you said. There's coaching, training, all this. It's not new. It's an emerging field, and it's very very much needed. But at the same time, I think it's really important to discern um, what is valid and what's not, because what's come along with that is a lot of confusion as well. Like,
Hmm.
you're seeing so many mixed messages. I mean, in my world, and you can speak to yours, but in my world, it's filled with before and after selfies of like people who are obese and now they're ripped and jacked, and all these things, and people that are trying to get healthy think that, like, that's that's the goal right there, right? That's like the mold that someone's going to try to fit me in. And you know what? I'm here to say, and we could do another talk on this to really go down a rabbit hole, but you know, trust me, the lifestyle you need to live to make a transformation like that is not really usually sustainable. It's like someone grinded it out for 3 to 5 months, achieved this amazing physique, but they're
Can
living
they
on
do it forever?
rabbit food, boiled chicken, steamed broccoli, like plant, you know what I mean? So they get to the point where it's like, oh, now what? Now that I've gotten to this point, um, what do I do? So I really focus more on the, longevity aspect, getting healthy, feeling healthy. What does health look like to you? Because it's different to everybody. Not everybody cares about rock hard six pack abs. Um,
Mm,
they just want to get to a point where they can play with their kids in the backyard without getting winded, or
right.
go on a hike, or maybe even play with their grandkids if they're old enough. Simple life things that are really more important than the aesthetics. So I
Yeah.
think that's where my industry is really, there's a lot of confusion in my industry and a lot of misconceptions about things. So hopefully I can, educate guys and tell them, listen, no, you don't. That's not how it needs to be. So don't be afraid of that. We take a different, more holistic approach.
Yeah, it's
So
understanding the difference between a goal and a result. I think it's a lot of people have those two confused. Like a lot of the people I work with, they think their goals are to make more money,
yeah,
right? To make more money, and then they think, well, that will allow me to have, to be happy. Then I can have more time to do these things and support my family. And I always tell people that money and profit is not a goal. Like you can't have a business plan where the goal is more money, because that's not a goal, that's a result. And it's a bit like having abs, right? There may be a result of having a really nice looking body after you've looked after yourself,
Of
but
course.
that's a result. It's not the goal.
Hmm.
If the goal is to be healthy and energized and more focused and, just feel great every morning and sleep better, if that's the goal, there's going to be loads of results along the side of that, which will be you look great, when you go to the beach and you may have abs and all those things. You look great, but they're results. They're not goals.
Exactly.
As with profit, right? And I think that with what I do, a lot of business owners and business leaders, they when they're struggling in their relationships, with their sleep, feeling stressed, angry with their team, they think the answer to their goal of earning more money is a new strategy. It's extrinsic to them,
Yeah.
right? As probably within your industry, the answers are extrinsic, right?
Yeah.
They're
Well,
outside of them. I need to take loads of supplements, but now I can still eat McDonald's because I'm taking all these supplements, right? It's the
or I need
extrinsic,
a different meal program, right? I need a
right?
different meal program. I need a different workout program. It's the
Right.
thing that they think is important, right? The strategy. No, it goes deeper than that. So yeah, that,
Exactly. The actual strategy is in here, right? You. It's you know. I use the metaphor of the business of you, because, and it's kind of the same in your industry. How this thing runs, like physically and mentally, the quality of this business produces a quality of output, an effort, right? Whether that's physical effort or mental effort. How healthy this body that you've got is allows you to serve and impact extrinsically more, right? You can be more present with your kids. You can have more energy throughout the days. You can sleep better. You can be more creative and focused and idea driven at work. But that's how well this business is running. It's not an extrinsic strategy. No one can give you an external strategy in your life or your business that's going to work well if this thing isn't working well. You just can't, right? And I think that's where some of the world gets lost with thinking that they're not enough and they need external things to be better.
exactly.
You have everything you need, everything. And actually, in my industry, and maybe it's the same with yours, Patrick, it's more about unlearning than it is about learning.
Yeah.
Unlearning the things that you've consciously or unconsciously put in place or believed that is slowing you down, holding you back, and making your life harder. And if you can take responsibility from that, with that, you're at stage one. You're taking the first step
Yeah.
to a solution, because then you don't blame anything or anyone anymore. You say, do you know what? It's up to me. I'm the one that can make myself healthier and perform better and have the results that I want. And there's no problem with having more money, and wanting a better body. I don't think there's a problem with that. But that's a result,
Yeah. And
right?
there certainly needs to be a deeper why to that. Like you said, like you know your goal, like in my world, your goal can't be, oh, I want to look great on the beach in this vacation I'm going to. I mean, that may be something, that may be a result, and you can enjoy that, if you do what you need to do, and great if you look good on the beach, what I mean. But once your beach vacation's done, then what? Right?
Yeah,
What's driving you after that? Like we have to stop looking at temporal goals, and also our bodies. We got to realize, guys, listen, we're all getting older, we're aging, when we get to 50, 60, 70, our bodies, no matter how hard we're working out or how healthy we're eating, are not going to look like they did when we were in our 20s or 30s. Eventually these bodies are going to fade, we're going to wither, and we're going to die. So the goal almost
not to
needs
bring you guys down.
not to bring you guys down, yeah, not to be a downer over here, but that's the truth. And I think looking at the further down the road, like, Stephen Covey said this, one of the biggest statements that impacted my life earlier is beginning with the end in mind, right? Like, what is your end goal? Like, the end of your life, like, where do you want to be? Is at the end of your life, when you're, and not to bring you down again, but sitting in your deathbed, I like to say this: you're not going to care about what your abs look like.
No.
You're not going to care about how big your biceps are. You're not going to care about all the selfies you took along the way and posted on social media. What you're going to care about is the person you are and your heart, right? Where's your heart been? How did you serve other people? How did you show up for the people in your life and show up for yourself? It's more of an emotional
Yeah.
Almost
Did you live a life that was, maximizing what you could do and what you could leave behind?
exactly. You
Right.
know,
Regret is not something anyone wants to have on that day.
no, exactly, and that's what we're looking at. Not you don't want to live a vain life, you know, because believe me, like I've seen this 100 times, and it's happened with me. You know, you 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 achieve this physique, this body, right, and then you're posting stuff, and it's like that wears off, and the novelty of that wears off, and it's like there needs to be a deeper meaning. You know,
Mhm.
what's important to me. And right now, like I'm turning 50 this year, and I just want to be healthy. I want to be able to be capable. You know, I'm
Mhm.
going snowboarding in a few weeks in Utah. And, you know, I wanted to have the physical health to be able to, you know, go up 11,000 feet and
Mhm.
breathe. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So our goals shift as time goes on. You know, I love, you know, in your world, you were certified high performance coach through Brendan Burchard, right? And one of his sayings I love, and I always remember because I always follow Brendan as well, is did I live, did I love, and did I matter?
Mhm.
You know, and those are three really important questions to ask. And that's what
That's
we
right.
want to talk about. So, but yeah, great points there.
So I guess the final, if we're going to like wrap this up, the question is how. Let's go back to the question: how do you know? How do you know if you're ready for your chapter two? What are people in your industry feeling when it's like, do you know what? I'm I'm at a stable foundation where I'm good to push. I'm good to say, come on, let's put some adversity that I know is going to help me in the way, right? Whether that's I'm going to cut out sugar and I'm going to change my diet and but make it sustainable. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do all these things, and it's going to be tough at the beginning because I'm going to hurt from the workouts and I'm going to miss the sugar, right? But the adversity is exciting to me because I know what the other side is going to be like. Like, how do people know that they're ready for that? And same in my industry. How do people know that it's like I know I'm capable of more, but I also know I'm getting in my own way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it starts with a really deep self-reflection and being really honest with oneself. And I think guys are feeling like when they're starting to feel that the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of changing is when they need to say, okay, you're right. And like, if they don't know what to do, just be vulnerable. Guys, right? We're guys. We want to sometimes take control and figure everything out for ourselves, right? But there's help out there, right? There's,
Mhm.
there's people like us who've been through the journey and have accomplished it ourselves. And we're here to support them. But I think it's just that being really honest with themselves and being willing to seek help and know
Yeah,
they're feeling a lack of motivation. They're feeling confusion, right? Um, but they know something needs to shift just internally. It's more of
hmm
a conscious thing,
yeah,
you know, than trying to figure out, oh, I need to change these specific things about my life as far as like diet or whatever. That all stuff can get worked out.
yeah.
Uh,
The how I always say the how's not your business. You don't need to know how. That's what Patrick's here for. That's what I'm here for. You don't need to know how, but being honest with yourself, that's huge, right? Especially guys, right? Right. It's can you be honest with the way you feel, right? The vulnerability. It's something that I'm working with the team right now. They're really, helping them understand the power and the strength in vulnerability. It's the concept of unconscious incompetency. Like if you can be aware of all the things that you're doing to hold yourself back and be honest about it, that's a real power and a real strength because you've got this far not working on those things, which is amazing, right? Imagine what would happen if you could not allow those things to hold you back, right? Imagine what would happen. I mean, I've just started working with this guy who's going to be retiring soon, right? A rancher, and the concept of retirement to him is just like I don't understand the concept of that. That's terrifying. The idea of just sitting around not doing anything. And it's that realization that really without a purpose, um, we're not driven to do anything. Brendan would call it necessity, right? Without the necessity to know why you're getting up in the morning, no matter how you feel, there's a necessity to that. There's like I've got to show up,
Yeah.
And you don't have that without a purpose, whether it's to recognize you're in your chapter 2 and you really got to pay attention to your health, or whether it's like, do you know what, I want my life to matter, and I need to figure out my purpose, and I need to figure out who I need to be to execute that purpose, which is really a lot of the stuff that I do. um, there are a lot of people that have a little feeling of that, of not being satisfied, but they kind of settle,
Hmm.
right? And so
Good
I
one.
guess the question I would ask everyone listening is where are you comfortable, right? Comfortable, but still unhappy,
Yeah.
complaining. It's like, do you know what? I'm comfortable with my life because I knew how I am like that, but I don't want it. I don't want to be like this, but the idea of changing is terrifying me, right? That's a really interesting place to be because you're aware that the comfort is keeping you stuck. And all you need is someone to support you with the fear. If you're honest, right? The fear of the effort involved, or that you might put the effort in and it might not work out, or that, it's it's just too hard. But it really isn't, right? The fear tends to be a bit of a liar. I find, that you. I think we're all way more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And when you've got someone who's got your back, who's in your corner, the whole way, that knows from evidence and proof that they've done it before, that you can achieve anything you want. If there's a sense of belief there, you'd be surprised at how quickly you'll start to see progress. Sure, it's going to take a while to build those foundations, but you can actually very quickly start to sense improvement and sense belief and sense what
Absolutely.
life's going to be like. And that's the gift that comes very, very quickly, and
It
is really,
does.
really important.
Yeah, and it's important when you first get, your first little, even little wins, to
Mm.
build on those wins. I say
Yeah.
that yes, it's really a hard journey if you look at the whole thing. If you look at your
Mhm.
whole journey and let that overwhelm you, yeah,
Mm.
it's hard, right? But if you take it one day at a time, and I love to use the analogy of puzzles because I love doing puzzles. I say there's some days where you could sit down and have time and you could find 20 puzzle pieces, and there's some days where you might only find one puzzle piece, but as long as you're putting one puzzle piece in that puzzle a day, eventually you're going to finish the puzzle.
Mhm.
Like, even if it's a 500 piece puzzle, it's going to take you 500 days if you finish, if you find one piece a day. But eventually you will. So
Mhm.
it's just about showing up for yourself, and being committed and having a strong why, and like you said, purpose is
And
huge.
when those pieces are together, it's a lot easier to maintain that puzzle in one piece than it is to put it together.
For sure.
A lot easier,
Yep.
right? Just don't rock the boat.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, this is a great talk, James. Thanks for so much for being here today with me and doing this. And we look forward to bringing more value to everyone, and hopefully, uh, doing this more consistently, and building on it. And we're here. We want you to ask questions, reach out to us. Um, but this has been a great experience and a great first go. And looking
Yeah,
forward to doing this again.
it's been fun. All right, my
Awesome.
friend.
Okay.
See you later, everyone.
Have a good one.